Okay, so I guess let us go ahead and get started with the Codes app. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to cover of that today. Um, Let me go ahead and see the codes. So we did the calculator app, um, form validation, and now we'll look at the code app. What we'll do in this lecture is we'll go ahead and try to implement an API and download the JSON objects or the JSON files, and then try to process it or decode that JSON and to filter out and show the data. Let me close it. So first off, I just googled codes API, and this is the web page or the site that came up. I guess they have pretty standard stuff. You can randomly get a code, you can search a code, you can get all the popular codes, you can like and dislike a code. Um, you can also get images. Oh, that's great. Let me go ahead and try one of these. So turn off. Okay, so firstly, it says that the endpoint is codes not rest. So this is the endpoint will be hitting. And okay, so let me go ahead and implement the or all these requests myself and see what kind of parameters they take. So I just went ahead and opened Postman, in which this is an app in which you can query different HTTP requests, so you can know what parameters to put and what body to expect before you know go ahead and start coding.
Don't
So
worry,
that
I've
is kind
used
of,
it.
yeah, that is kind of helpful. Let's say codes API, and okay, so we get a list of codes in here. These are paginated, so you can request more codes by just adding parameters. I'll edit this. And what else do they have? You can fetch code by ID or author ID or tags. Okay, I guess this one is perfect. Um, all right. Let me go ahead and create the new application. Add a new Flutter project. Next, I'll say Flutter app. I'll say new Flutter application. By just give the links, so then we can know and we can refer it in the future. Okay, till the project is building, I was just trying and surfing through the designs here. I thought this one was the best, but it is kind of overly complicated with animations and everything. Although this is quite achievable in Flutter, although for another day. One other thing app that I liked was this, but we don't get any navigation bars and everything to implement. So next best was this. It kind of has a medium style design. So we have I guess a home page. It says get started, and then so we can kind of use this as a splash screen, and when the user clicks on get started, they'll get redirected to home screen, in which we can either make them bookmark or to try this different things. We can use tab bar to use to filter the codes. Depending on the data we have, I don't think we'll be able to use tab bar, but anyways, we'll be able to do the bottom tab bar and kind of try and achieve this kind of design.
And the drawer navigation drawer and the bottom navigation bar, they part of the app bar, scaffold app bar.
Yes, they're not. So they are defined inside the app bar. So the elements itself are a separate thing, but in Flutter, if you define them, yes, they are different. Um,
Also, they're not a readily available method or something in an app bar.
They are there. Although what I meant to say was, if design wise, if you see those, like those are different things. But in no in Flutter, if you go, or try to implement those, then you'll be able to define them inside the app bar itself. Yeah. At least the drawer app drawer, I guess you can. Uh, you can see the arguments.
Yeah, I thought I saw bottom navigation bar
Drawer
as a
and bottom. Yeah, both of them are inside the K folder, not tab bar.
oh
The
sorry, yeah,
tab bar
skateboard.
is, yeah, the tab bar. Even the tab bar is the tab bar is the only thing that is defined in the app bar. But again, we'll have to see the implementation. So a couple of things. So to kind of achieve this kind of floating tab bar, we'll have to implement a library from PubSpec. So what I'll do initially is I'll maybe define a normal bottom navigation bar and then show you how it works and then achieve this kind of flow.
Yeah, and instead of the top, like the top bar or something, we can just put those
Mhm.
all design, philosophy, the
Yeah,
categories, we can put them in a drawer on the left side.
yeah, we can, but I don't think we can. We can list author, we can get author by ID, we can also, we can list X. Let me try this. So, um, duplicate list X, edit this list X, and right. So I have all these tags, right? So I'll be able to get the list of tags. Although, will I be able to fetch one? Um, search for code by tags by ID. So we can do codes by ID, but I don't think we can do by tags. List tags get author by ID. List authors get code by ID. There is no get code by tags or codes by tag.
We can just
List,
put 5 authors on the side or on the top.
yeah, we can do that too. Let's see how we can get author by ID. But also again, after selecting the author, the user would expect to get all the codes from that author, right? We also don't have a method to get codes by the
Oh,
author
oh, that's okay. That makes sense.
unless someone has created their own source codes. Okay. No issues, even implementing this. We can add something else here, or at least we can add those. It wouldn't be clickable, but let's get started with this.
Right, that's a
So,
good idea.
so I was thinking for this app we can implement an MVC architecture. You might have heard about MVC. MVC stands for model, view, and controller. This architecture is kind of a way to help developers segregate their logic. So the code could contain the database or the models that we are storing, the objects, data types, right, that we are storing. The code can contain different logic, and the code can contain the visual data, whatever the user sees. So if we try to combine this and don't give regard to code structuring, then in that case, if we go ahead and scale that application or keep on adding new features, it will be at some point of time it will be a nightmare and it will take a lot of time just to do small changes. So for that, we use different kind of architectures or code structuring. MVC or model based controller is one of those. We might have used, if you are familiar with .NET or C Sharp, uh, you, that language or framework also uses this. In Dart, it is very easy to get lost in code and combine the code without any actual trying, right? You can just like code normally and the code will not get structured properly. So we have to give more regard to structuring and everything. And this is kind of simple. In model, what we do is we create classes to store data that is maybe uh, not actually stored, but give the type or representation of data that is fetched from a database. View is something that the user sees, and it will include all the widgets and UI. And controller is a place where we'll add logic, and will for this case we'll write APIs, write and manage APIs inside controller. Also, you'll also know how to handle asynchronous tasks. You'll know how to use async and await in this same session. So let's
I
get
don't
started.
know what those are. Just FYI, not have I ever studied or learned about MVC.
Okay. No issues. We'll be starting from scratch anyway, so that's not a problem. I'm
So
assuming you're not familiar with anything. So
okay, so can I like read about MVC even on the Medium?
of course.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Um, I'll kind of loosely follow that structure. I won't actually write model, view, and controller. So we can just loosely follow that structure so that we can kind of be flexible. I'll run this app. Um, Let me just have the even the design here. Okay, so in lab, right, this is where our code will be. I'll create all the different folders of the three things that we talked about. First will be model, so I'll just name it model. And I'll be adding services or service. In that case, I should rename this to models. And I'll create screens. So this is kind of self-explanatory. In models, we create all the classes for the data. Screens will create each and every screen that we will or the user will interact, and in services will be making those API and network calls. Um, Also, let me clear PubSpec. We'll also be adding assets and fonts as we need them. So also let us create a folder for assets in the root directory. So I'll just say assets. All right. So we have this white kind of application with black. Um, so um, let us start with the first screen. We have never miss a word. Um, I'm not guessing it gives what fonts the author has used, but let me download a random font for just the codes. Let me just say font in Google Fonts. So we'll try to find two fonts. One that is kind of boxy looking like this, and the other is kind of smooth like this. So um, um, so this all the fonts from the Noto family are good, or the Product Sans family are good. I guess this fits our secondary font well. Yes, it's the same font. Um, Now, how can I add this? Yeah, download family. Just open them and place them in the desktop. Um, Let me find another font. Is there categories? Yes. Let me only select display. Oh, guess this one is the one. Okay, I download this one. Same in the desktop. Let's see. Okay, I kind of have both the fonts here. I'll extract the first one. For the second, we have different files. Okay. So now I need to place the fonts inside my app. Let me close this. Um, in assets, I'll create a new directory called fonts. So I'll place all this fonts inside this. Let me go ahead and open the folder. Move these files here. So we have all the fonts here. Now in pubspec.yaml, if we scroll down, they have already defined how do we define assets, how we define fonts. So let me clear out this. Need to clear out this. So for font, we have a font family, and then we have different style of fonts under that, right? So font family is nothing but just take it as a font name. So let's say we are trying to add this one. Well, some makes sense. I'll just copy its name and be adding it here. Let me uncomment these. So I guess I've messed up the structuring. So one, two, three. There should be a space here, right? Okay, this works. So there are different fonts, right? So one we have regular, different types of fonts. One is regular, then bold italic and italic. So we'll have to define those separately here. So for regular, I have this, right? So I'll just get that path. So I have regular, I'll just copy paths, copy from the root, paste it here. So it has now the path for the regular one. For the this is for italic, right? Okay. So for italic, it has this one that is has style italic. Then we also have bold. So for that, we'll again define um, bold. And this is bold italic. This is bold. And in style, I'll say what style? Although I'll say weight, and it should be 500 if it is bold. Yeah. And we have a different font family, and that is this. Um, just copy the paths. Copy, not that, not that. And we only have one that is regular. That's it. So let me see if I messed up the spaces. Most probably I did. Okay. In fonts, it says mapping regular order. You miss a colon. Huh. So let me take a look. Um, should be better assets. This is just for assets, not fonts. Better font. Use a custom font. Yes, fonts and letter and then fonts and then state of family. Huh. So two spaces. Yes. Um, family should be two. Yep. And then again it should be two and not three. So this is three. And then this should be yeah. So one of the things that you should take care here is this is spacing. Um, family fonts.
So our first asset name is the, I think you wanted to put balsam, right? I can
Yeah.
see that. Can you see
Um.
the first asset in the?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Just making sure. So when you put style, so you put a second asset and you put a style below it.
Mm.
So
So there are so there is kind of a hierarchy here. So when we call inside the app, we'll just pass this variable, but Flutter has to decide that which type of font should it use. Should it use a regular version of it, italic, or bold version of it? So for that, we are just saying that hey, like this file, this particular font is italic. So that is the reason we are saying defining it as italic. So and again for bold, we have a separate file. We are telling it look, it is just part of this same font and it is this file represents the bold version of this font. So that is the reason we are kind of putting this hierarchy here. And weight, I've defined it as 500. That is that means that this is bold. Let me go ahead and just print something in the
like
app.
the second family name doesn't need to be changed to Abdul Fatih.
Um, yeah.
Would it work?
It
I'll
will
now use
actually,
it.
but we should rename it. Now let me go in the main container. Let me give a child and let me give a text. So this is how we normally define a text, right? Just say this is our test printed. Let me give it a style and within the style, let me give it a color and then let's say color dot white so we can see the text. So we can this is like this because we have not defined a theme. So let me say theme. We have defined a theme. Because this is not in a scaffold. So instead of doing this in me, um, I'll go into screens. Then I'll create a new file saying home page dot in which I'll say call a stateful widget and then I'll say home screen and I'll import material and here I'll return a scaffold and I'll say a body and which will have a container let's say the center and then it will have a child which will have a text say text and in the main screen us this let's import it. So we have gotten this is a text. So this is how a normal text would be there. Now let's use this every fat face font. So I'll just say style and I'll say text style. And let's first of all increase the size. Let's make it 32 so it becomes huge. And let's say here I'll see something called font family. Font family. Yeah. In string, I'll just write the font name and then if I auto load, you can see that it has changed. I can do the same with the other one and G setup. Is this one that is selected? Okay. This kind of does not represent the design. Anyways, I'll change it later if it looks very bad. Although this is the way how we do it. But the issue arises here that for each and every text that is defined in the app, we'll have to add a text style in which we'll have to add a font size and we'll also have to add a font family. That is too much work. And also like we will so that would be too much work going in each and every page and changing the text and font. So what I'll do is I'll create a theme file. So we have this different things. So module screens and services. I'll add a new package saying utils, in which I'll add all the utilities. This can be the widgets that we are calling again and again, the theme data, or even the URLs or the API keys. So I'll create a new file theme dot. Here I'll say return I'll create a function theme, um, which returns theme data. It's maybe at application theme. I will return the theme data to the main widget. So in here, we'll define a couple of things. So let's start with the text. I'll say um, return data in which it takes an argument text theme. So text theme has a couple of different text theme. It has a couple of different things. It has body one, body two, button, subhead, subtitle. These are different types of fonts or types of texts that we could use in the app. We also have caption. We also have headline. So if you kind of need a good view, just have a look at this. So H1 is the biggest, and then comes H2. So this is headline one, headline two, headline three, four, five, six, subtitle one, body two, and this is how we actually use it in like while professionally designing and making an app. Also, although I won't be changing the font sizes here, so I'll just add the font um, style. So let's say I'm in body one. Body one is the normal text that we'll be using. I'll say text style, and all I'll say is color. I'll say color dot black. Then I'll say font family. I'll say lower quotes, not this one. Yeah, it should be this one. That's it for body one. Let me do the same for body 2. So if you want to, you can also control the the size of fonts, the other size of text. So then if you use this body one or body two inside the app, each and every section where you are calling the body one or body two, or each and every widget, for example, app bar might use body one by default. So since you have already defined the font family here, and we'll be overriding this file in the main.dart, in that case, each and every instance of the app bar will use this new updated widget, sorry, the new updated font. Um, I'll be covering that once I finish this. So then we have caption. Caption should again be the same. Then we have display. So this will be the bigger ones. So I should say from for each and every display, I'll use this. So for display one, for display two, for display three, four, five. There are five, I guess. Not five. Which other is left? Headline, title, subhead. Okay. Headline, for headline we'll give this. For title, same. For subhead, then we have another for button. Okay. So this is the theming for text that we have defined. Although we also have to define the primary swatch. Primary swatch includes the primary color, the accent color. So if you don't know, and material, um, we have this material style of design. Let me have bars. So we have different colors that are available for different things. For example, for this app, we have the primary color, this purple, right? There is another color called primary dark, which is used in the status bar. There is another color called accent color, which is used to kind of give that shade effect when you scroll the list, but you have reached at the top or at the bottom. Also, there is a ripple color to give the ripple effect in the buttons. So we'll just define a primary color, and the primary color as per the design we only have black and white. So I think we'll just give colors dot white. For primary color, same. For accent color, let's give black. It shouldn't, this, if this were a colorful app, or it had app bar and everything, then we would have given the appropriate colors. But now what we'll have to do is we'll have to get the theme data. So in main, what I'll do, I'll define uh, let's say theme data, an object called theme is equal to this, and here I'll give it a value, that is this get application theme. Say get application theme, and let me get this. So I can directly instantiate this there. Yeah. Um, I do have errors. There you go. Let me um, reload that. Okay, so it has restarted now. So instead of defining the whole style, what I'll do here, I'll call theme dot of context, and I'll just say um, text theme dot display one. Let me now restart. Okay, so it has not switched to the new text, I guess. Yeah, it has not. So then if it turns red now, so this is not what it's using. Although you can Google it and find from the documentation, it would be one of these. If it is not, you'll be able to find that in the documentation.
Okay, okay, no worries. I'll find it.
Okay. Now, yeah. So let's go ahead and implement this. I'll have to add some of this circle type of things. For that, I guess I'll have to edit this in Photoshop and then place them in the app. Okay. So normally you would get um, PNGs of SVGs. from the designers. Although this will also make you know how to add images and everything to the app. Um, Let me just export each and every one of that decoration on the desktop. So yeah, just copy that. I'll make a new file. Create, just paste that. Remove the background to achieve this transparency, and it will just export it as a PNG. Um, just let me say this, standard file export PNG. It should be decoration 2, and we have symbol on new. Um, this will look odd, I guess. Let me create this. And we have this. Um, yeah, and the last one. Let's do this as well. Um, okay, so I kind of have all these images. Now all I need to do is import this into the app and then um, use them. So let me cut, open the assets folder, show an explorer, assets, and make a new file here called images in which I'll paste them. Now, up spec, you can see they've already added, they've already commented how we can use those images. What I'll do is I'll uncomment this code. So they have defined assets and they have defined, there should be one more space. Variable, the path of the image, right? But we have multiple images. So what we'll do is we'll pass on the path of this images folder. So I'll just copy path, copy absolute, no, should be from the root. And then I'll do assets slash images and then also add one more slash. Let me fetch the new updated data. Let me see if I'm able to access any one of those inside slash screen. I'll say um what was the copy, and then I'll say image dot asset, then pass this. Okay, so we can use those images here. What I'll do is, firstly, I don't need an image here. Firstly, I'll just adjust this text. I'll say text, and then say never less a word, and here I'll say style, and I'll say theme. Okay, so am I able to? Or, so firstly, instead of defining this as a global object, I'll just define it inside here. And now to access a theme, I can say theme dot of context, and then I'll say text theme, and then I'll say display 4. If I go ahead and execute it, it'll show like that. But each and every time I don't want to write this whole statement. So after widget build method, before we return scaffold, we'll say we define a theme data. We'll say theme is equals to, and this we have defined this object after build context because we'll need the context that is defined here to access this theme. So why we are using context is because we are obtaining this theme from its parent, and its parent is material app where we have defined the theme. That is the reason we are doing this. So here we can say just theme and then text theme dot display 4. I think 4 is a little big. I'll say it has a padding. I'll say padding, and also we'll make it in center. Although it is inside a column, so it won't go in center. But let me increase the padding. Yep, this sounds. This looks okay. And I also have one more text. Manage your reading process.
Can you
So
can we
yeah,
put the miss? I mean, I don't know how, but then can you put the miss on the second line? How do you do that in
yeah,
Flutter?
simple thing. I'll say slash man. Done.
Oh, okay.
So even in C++, you could do this slash n. Let's also do a word in a new line. That's better. Can I go ahead and use the full? Now this is really good. I have one more text below it. I'll use the same thing. Under here, we can say manage your reading process. Manage your reading process. And instead of display 3, I'll say body 2. And there we go. There we have it. Now, they have too much space in between. So I'll say um, only give padding from the left, and same here only then left. Let me give now this is okay. Now we want a couple of things. Now, firstly, let me make this in center. For that, I'll call our class main axis alignment dot center, so that we'll get this absolute center. Now I kind of want this decorations. So for that, what I'll do is since I want them behind this, right? So I'll use something called stack. Um, stack also takes up children, but instead of placing them one after another, it places them one below each other. So it kind of creates this stack kind of view. So here we have all the text, and now we'll add the decoration here. I'll again try to import the image dot set, and then we can do copy path. Um, then, okay, every time I make this mistake, it should be group. And so we can see it here. I'll do the same for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Although when I do that, we can see each and every one is appearing one on top of each other. So here I have a really handy widget called position. So it will help us to exactly place the particular widget where we want. So I'll wrap this with position. I can specify top, bottom, right, everything. So here I'll just say right, then 0. So because this column, why is this only going to here? Its parent is a stack. It should go. We have to debug this. Let's see this. Position and a stack. Okay. I can see the stack does not take the actual full width. Um, for that, what I'll do is do I have width here? Yeah. I'll say media query dot of context dot size dot width. They should set it as devices width. Although, okay, instead of this, I should wrap the position with a call and set its width as So,
I think we forgot a colon.
yeah, let's see if it. Yeah, sure. Directly side. Okay, I guess so. We can't do this. This I'll see. Uh, okay, position must be placed directly inside the stack object, so we can't use the container. Uh, Stack this of start field overflow list of features. Okay, so stack field dot start. Should this work? Yeah. Okay. So we can place this there. Um, what is the second one? Second one is this. I should say left. Zero, zero. Where am I defining? Should be inside a position. Same drill. Third is should be the left should be zero, and then the bottom should be let's say 50. Exactly the bottom. Let's make it one. Okay. This text should be on the left side, so I'll just say cross axis alignment dot start. Make it left, and have these two left. Let me write them in position. Same way here. The right of both of them should be zero. Right. Zero. The fourth one is okay. So let's make the top as 50% of the screen's 60%. Let's make it screen's height. So I'll say media query dot of context dot size dot height in 2.6. Um, so same for the above one, but it should be 40%. That's okay, I guess. Should be 7 and it should be 0.6. 1.5 is better. Yeah. So it kind of looks like this. Now what we'll need to do is we'll need to define a kind of circular button which will show get started. For that,
Can you can you just in short explain the stack, positions, and media query methods and classes that you used?
okay, for media query dot of context, and if I say dot size, it will just give me a double in which I can select the height, width of the screen. So this is the height and this is the width of the screen. Then I can also see what the aspect ratio of the screen is. I can also get all this different query, bottom right, left, right. That is
What
helpful.
does media query do though?
Media query is a set of functions which defines standard stuff of leasing the widgets. So I'm not guessing you'll be using it more often. Just whenever you'll use it, you'll just use it for the size. The other thing it gives is different padding, different ratios, bottom padding, left padding, right padding. So that is kind of not needed for us. What was your other question?
It was about position and about the stack.
Okay, so position. I'll just walk through you through it. So position when we use stack, we would expect the widgets to be placed exactly at the positions that we want. In Flutter, it may not be possible using just rows and columns. So that is the reason position offers top, left, right, width and height, bottom, all these things through which we can use by the combination of those we can place the specific widgets wherever we want. For example, I've written right is 0, so this particular image is stuck to right. For the second one, I've written left is 0 and top is 0, so we have this loop, and the same goes for different things. So for this one, I've said whatever the height of the screen is, just make the top at 30% of that. So whatever, like this is 50% and it is getting placed at the 30% mark of the screen. Again, whatever the height is, just 55% of the screen. It should start at the 55th percentage. And we have added the right to 0. So both of them stuck to the right side. And same with the green one. We have said just place it at 150 from the bottom. So it has taken 150 space from bottom and stick to left since we have said left to 0. For stack, what we have done is stack aligns the widgets one on top of each other. So all these widgets are on the bottom and this whole text is at the top. So this text has two things, the title and then the second line of text we have added inside a column since we want them strictly one below other. That is the reason. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, it did.
Okay. Now we'll just go ahead and add this button. What we'll do simply is we'll say position. I'll say bottom to 0, and then define a row, child. And then a row. Why am I defining a row? Is I want the button to be center aligned. So I can use the main axis alignment, not center property of the row and align the button at the center. We'll take children and let's make it on that button, which will take a child. It will have a text of get started. Again, in the design, it has a different font, but we don't need to do that. And then it has a lattice style, and it should be text theme dot. That's it. Theme
So,
dot. Yeah.
is there a way to, in the theme data that we defined, is there a way to set all the buttons to a certain color?
Yeah, that should be. Let's see. Let's say should be button bar thing, button color value. We'll say colors dot black. Um, and I'll load this tab. Okay, I guess the flat button does not take um button color. Uh, Maybe it gets applied to raised button. It will not be able to fetch. This may be because we have not defined on click, right? Yeah, on pressed and still it does not. Anyways, we can give it a color. Text color, disabled color. It has a color property. In the text, we want the text to follow the properties of body one, but we also want it to get a white color. But in the properties of body one, we have not added white color. The default is black. So to override that, we'll say dot and we'll say copy with. Here we will say color and then colors dot white. And let's see if the change happens. Okay, so we have this kind of button. Now we'll have to add padding. We'll say edge sets geometry dot dot symmetric. Let's make the horizontal to double dot infinity. So it would stretch as far as the screen would. Why is it black? Ah, I think because the row does not expand. Let me see. Okay, so text and row. This is because the row is limited to this. Huh. Um, we have the same property in row. The axis size dot max. Okay, let me try.
So
Axis size.
just
Yeah,
a question: can we define everything else under stack and just the button by itself without the stack, like before the stack or no?
yeah, we can. Sure, we can. That's fine. We don't have to. But that would although fix the current issue that we are having. Although we'll have to put one more column and then add the button inside that column. Sure, so let us do it that way. We will not have to use position or pro. Let me get this out, and wrap this stack with. This is devices. We have the button. This is refresh it. I guess that's some issue.
Sorry for suggesting that.
Nah, even I thought it would work. Maybe we have to give height to text. Anyways, I don't know why this is so much lagging. But really bad memory leaks here.
And it doesn't matter how big of the app you have. I mean, or does it matter?
It's not actually. Um,
What
again,
if we have like
bigger the
15 API calls?
so it is. It matters on the length of the code actually. But like even if your code is short, like the project is small, it will crash. Like you don't have to worry about that. It will crash on. But if it is bigger, it will crash even bad.
Mhm. But the
Analyzing
app, but the app doesn't come down, right?
the entire PC. So
No, no, no. If you've released this app
no,
on,
no, no, it doesn't.
so what? A question for some other time. Never mind. I mean, I know on the website you don't have to answer this right now, but I just wanted to bring it up. So if you have a website or something, then you have loads of um, error and bugs, and different kind of errors generation or error monitoring tools.
Mm,
And you
mm,
have like something like where the code is hosted, right?
mm,
You can't host
mm.
it on your laptop, obviously.
Yeah.
So all those things. So do you have to do that for like Flutter as well?
So Flutter, it depends what kind of app you're making, right? So for hosting, if you're talking about, we kind of use the API calls and the server to just host the data, client data. But if you have an offline app, we won't need that database. So that is the area in apps where we use hosting.
I'll ask you in detail next time. I don't even know my questions right now,
No worries.
but thanks for answering them.
Sure. Let me put the button back in um, lab position. Okay. Um, why is it still not here? If I not okay, so I guess the button is taking the entire page and no idea why. I'll say bottom be 0 and I'll say height to be let's say 50. Why is it so much space? say top 150. We have that. Okay. Let me.
Because we didn't give its position.
We actually did at bottom. Um, padding should not be this much. Let me see. Padding is 12. Okay. Let me increase it to 72. Alright. Um, Firstly, we don't have all black. Open this. Also, let's see. It should be color from RGB. It should be 255 since we don't want any transparency. Then 49, 49, 49. We have a width. We have any set that we got infinity here and set no button. I guess flat button does not play well with this position widget. Anyways, and then I'll say vertical equal to B0, so it does not have any space. Okay, let's increase this. This is a really bad way of giving width to a button because um, different sizes of screens might react differently here. But for now, let me let's not take it. Okay, 40. Alright, so let's take it. For the height, let me add a padding. Yeah, maybe a little more. Decrease the width. Let's make it 135. Now, flat button we have shape, box shape, border radius, not all the radius directly. Let's say flat button shape. Yeah, create a pivot boundary. It takes in rectangular, rounded rectangular border, and then yeah, so this is seen as card. Um, yeah, 30 should be fine. Um, this seems fine. Let me wrap that button with a little bit of padding. Now I do this. No. Let me make left as 10, right as 10. See, okay, I guess there should be a better way of doing this. Um, it's really cool. Hmm. Right. So I think your original intuition was correct. We should not place the button here. We won't be able to achieve that look anyways. Again, let me try and wrap the stack in a column and wrap the stack in a container and add a bit of width size dot width, whatever the screen's width is. And for height, I'll just say whatever the activity's height is and then minus 150. So we'll have this empty space where I should be able to add my flat button. Okay. Yeah, so now what we can do is we can remove this padding. This looks small in my caption here. This is too small. Vertical can be, let's say, 24. Okay. Um, currently in a column, the cross-axis alignment should be centered so that everything is aligned in center. I guess this makes maybe the height would be a little less. And here that we need minus 100, yeah, minus 150. Okay. I guess this kind of screen is done. In the next session, we'll go ahead and continue with the actual API calls. We spent way too much time in perfecting the design, although I wanted to show you the use of position widget, and I wanted to prove the theory that we can achieve pixel perfect design in Flutter as well. Given much time, we could have done this exactly as in the image. We'll pick up from here the next time. I'll just go ahead and commit the code. Look at it.
Okay, thank you. That sounds good. This was amazing, really, to see something come in life on an app. It was truly amazing to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That is
as
the
as
reason I'm taking this kind of designs. Good.
Anshu